Hi everyone, this is Tony from the NGS Academy team. I am here in KEMRI Welcome Trust in Kalifi. Here I have Ouso with me, one of our participants on the course. So tell us about yourself.
Thank you very much. As mentioned, my name is Ouso. It's been the third iteration of this training for me in advanced bioinformatics workflows. And since 3 years back when it started, a lot has changed. I began as a research associate at the International Livestock Research Institute in Nairobi, where I was then working on SARS-CoV-2 genomics research. Fast forward, I've since moved and I'm a PhD student right now at the University College Dublin, Ireland, where I've kind of shifted focus a bit, but then the course still remains relevant, and that's why I am here for the third iteration. It is relevant because we're looking at workflows for management of workflow pipelines, so workflow processes or operations, if you like, and that is knowledge that is vital, especially in the fields of biological genomics research, where I am still based, although from perspective of artificial intelligence. And so getting to learn and understand and appreciate tools for workflow management like Nextflow and SnakeMake and containerization tools, Docker, which makes our work more reproducible. It's been a great experience and pleasure learning from a number of experts here that are very knowledgeable in the specific fields that I have aforementioned. Yeah, so is that all?
So, as you mentioned, this is the third iteration of the course. When we first started, the first iteration, you got introduced to Docker, containerization, different workflows, as well as GitHub. And then in the second iteration, you sort of moved on to more syntax coding, there was Python. And now in the third iteration, it's more sort of project work where you actually implement the skills and knowledge that you've learned. So tell us about some of the big challenges or gains that you have, personally taken away from the course.
I think it's been greatly structured in the sense that we've been here every year about the same time, get to learn concepts, then go and apply and use them, come back more confident and upgrade. And now this iteration is about putting everything all together and trying to, like a capstone project, to implement all the things that we have learned. So I think it's quite the structure or the format of the training has been very nice and allows one time to integrate what they have learned. Looking forward to grading and implementing as the course progresses. Some of the challenges they're there, and I think it is known, especially with the bioinformatics tools that we interact with. Most of them are not optimally developed. I'm not a developer though, but they just seem, some of them, very difficult to go around to set up, and requiring a bit of knowledge in things, basic knowledge in things like system admin in Linux, which if one does not have, then it might be a very daunting task to put up environments together and have your tools working in the right way that you need them to work. And so I think with this, we get to appreciate some of these challenges, and as developing researchers, we then find ways or appreciate ways to develop tools in a better way as we go forward. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very well put. As you say, you need to continuously upskill yourself and gain more insight in different, whether it's workflows, tools, or programming language. And you mentioned that you're currently pursuing a PhD in Dublin. Um, have you always had that, pursuit of science and wanting to be in academia?
I'd say that it's an open question for me at the moment, academia or industry, but I have been spent most of my time to this level in academia.
Hmm.
And I personally like to teach and stuff, yeah, but I'm also having a feeling that I need to explore and experience industry. So either way it goes, and I believe will be perfect, but yeah, I do really like capacity development and building also. So we wait to see how that turns out in the future for me, but
Sure.
definitely they have both their ups and downs.
Right. So you've obviously worked in Kenya for a long period of time before you moved to Dublin, and you have seen, firsthand what the pandemic, the SARS-CoV-2 in 2020 has done. And there's certain gaps that this pandemic really showed us. The infrastructure, the healthcare system, these things are not up to standard. And you can see that between developed countries like Europe and USA versus, many of these African countries. And one of the goals of these trainings we're trying to do is upskill the surveillance capacity as well in Africa. Do you have any sort of personal experience that you would like to share, or things that you've seen that you might want to sort of share with other scientists or institutions
This you mean especially in relation to?
in relation to how, or what can be done to really get more people into pathogen surveillance, what government or institutions can form better collaborations, more networks. I mean, you now in Dublin, how is their healthcare system better than, say, the one that you're comparing to Kenya? And when the SARS-2 pandemic hit everywhere in the world, countries prepared differently, and government were able to implement wearing masks, social distancing, based on the scientific evidence, that we were able to isolate the virus.
I think the pandemic was a great blessing in itself by bringing the essence of science and policy, and in that regard, then it got us Africa, I think, in an average state. I think that I came to really appreciate the efforts by the same PI who is in charge of this current training that we've been attending, Professor Nicola Mulder, where I'd attended a number uh, of HNet,
H3 Bio.
H3 Bionet, yes, trainings before, long way before COVID, and those skills and the people who were trained during those times mainly showed up during the pandemic for Africa to analyze the data, the SARS-CoV-2 data. And so sometimes there may seem not to be an immediate gain in some of this training.
Sure.
But then when you look at it holistically, you never know when this will be needed. And as
Yes.
they say, uh, luck is getting ready for when the opportunity strikes.
Yes.
So by these trainings, by governments and institutions collaborating and investing in training our people or personnel,
Yes.
then we become ready for when the circumstances arise that require such training, which is
Yes.
proactive and not reactive. So I think that's something that needs to continue,
Right.
and need to be emphasized, especially having experienced SARS-CoV-2 pandemic, and also the issue of collaboration
Yes.
and data sharing. That has been a big issue in the past, or difficulty, but I think it's researchers and stakeholders in general are warming up to proper ways of sharing data and managing data that become more beneficial to researchers and science as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, as you adequately put, luck is really preparation plus opportunity.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about opportunity, but you can prepare yourself, make sure that you're integrated with the latest technology or skill set so that when an opportunity arises, you are able to really shine.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you have eloquently put that Professor Nekimoto is trying to establish more training across Africa, and a lot of the skills that you learn is accumulation of those skills that
Yeah.
helps to really elevate yourself into the next level.
Yeah.
And as we sort of come to the end of this, I really want to ask you, do you have any sort of experience, whether it's advice or challenges that you want to share with young scientists or people that's coming into the field of bioinformatics or even other areas of science? What would you sort of tell them, or personal challenges that you would like to share or advice?
I'd say that um, for those who are upcoming, I mean, getting started has always been a big problem for most people, and indeed it's challenging because sometimes you wonder if you don't have like a proper challenge in which to try and learn or apply whatever you've learned, it might be difficult to come up with something yourself. Not difficult really, but the motivation to do so may be lacking per se. But then I think being able to make connections in the meetings or the people you're interested with, and reaching out and asking for advice or projects or guidance is one way to go. But also having, I think the most important thing is if you can to have something tangible, the little that you've learned, try and do something with it, however small, something that can be displayed or shared, especially on social development platforms like GitHub, if you can be able to put something there. And this is basically related to computational things that go with development, stuff like that, which are easier to share through such platforms. But again, keep going. It may be bleak sometimes, but then you just stay consistent, I'd say.
No, that's great. No, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much. Cheers.